Here we go. Ba-ba da ba ba da ba ba.
Here inside the Manhattan Movement and Arts Center, students come together for a very special class.
I wanna be a dancing man. Breathe.
The room filled to capacity. The focus, strictly Fosse.
It's as if I've been put into granite and I'm swaying in the breeze, so there's no break of my body. I don't tilt at all.
Leading the group, teachers Lloyd Colbreth, Dana Moore, and Valerie Pettiford.
There's always light, because this is pretty, but this is better.
Two.
They're all dancers who worked with Bob Fosse, and now they're taking the lessons they learned from the legendary director and choreographer and sharing them with the next generation.
This work that we're doing is so important because it's just getting lost.
To be able to share it, I mean, it's so precious.
And that joy in their eyes is the same joy I had when actually working with the man.
These master classes are geared towards young professionals and offered through the Verdon Fosse legacy. At the helm is Bob Fosse and Gwen Verdon's daughter, Nicole Fosse.
Each person that worked for Bob Fosse has their unique story that nobody else really knows. The notes that he gave, how they felt it in their body when they moved.
This arm just swings like a pendulum.
As Nicole tells us, Bob Fosse and Gwen Verdon's story began in 1955 with a meeting initiated by Broadway producer Hal Prince for the show Fosse was choreographing at the time, Damn Yankees.
My father wanted to work with my mother just to see how she moved and what she could do and would they get along. So the two of them went into a studio for a day to work together, and apparently my father called Hal and said, we need more time. They came out of those 3 or 4 days with a partnership that lasted their entire lives.
From hits like Damn Yankees and Sweet Charity to Cabaret and Chicago, their work spanned from stage to screen.
My father was influenced by Fred Astaire, the sculptor Verdon, Spanish matadors, and my mother was very influenced by Charlie Chaplin. Her training was with Jack Cole, that was her background. So she knew flamenco, East Indian, various disciplines of modern ballet, she could tap, she could really do everything. My father came from a vaudeville and burlesque world, and he was a tap dancer.
Two artists with two unique backgrounds, inspiring one another.
I think when they explored movement together in their early years together, she brought an entire vocabulary with her and an ability with her that he was not used to working with somebody so precise. So her abilities, I believe, gave him the ability to explore what was in his mind that he couldn't get anybody else to really execute.
And sometimes, if you're very lucky, you can find someone who dances it better than you ever dreamed it. And for me, that someone was Miss Verdon.
It was a collaboration that continued even when their romantic relationship ended.
Even though they separated, they never divorced. I think that added a sense of security for them, that they knew that they were still connected in some way.
You can still see the influence of their work in the current revival of Chicago. Choreographed in the style of Bob Fosse, now the longest-running American musical in Broadway history. Charlotte Dembois has played the most performances ever as Roxy Hart and says her first introduction to Fosse left a lasting impact.
When I was like 16, I went to see the show Dancin'. And I was a ballerina, total ballerina. And I went to see that show, and I'll never forget it. I was just blown away by it, and I thought, oh my God, that's what I want to do. And I was in this ballet world where you're just the pretty thing that's, I mean, you're lifted by the man, but you're pretty and you're sweet and you don't go past the line. And he went past the line. And to me, they were so powerful. And I went, I want to be a powerful woman on stage.
Those moves that audiences around the world recognize as Fosse actually came from his own challenges as a dancer.
My father wasn't turned out, was not a ballet dancer by any means.
You know, of course, the kind of slumped shoulders and the pelvis a little bit forward.
He used his imperfections.
His supposed defects were what he exaggerated
to create a signature style out of it.
Nicole explains it wasn't just about executing the moves, but telling a story.
Everybody knows how to step on their right foot and step on their left foot. It's how you do it, how you roll through the foot, the thought you're thinking while you roll through the foot, the musicality of placing the foot, your breath.
Then you go.
Mr. Fosse didn't use frivolous movement in his choreography. There really is meaning to every single thing he choreographed. So it's getting that understanding and making your body do these small nuances.
Alyssa Epstein has been taking these master classes for years.
His style is so iconic. I mean, you can watch a show and go, that's Fosse. I mean, it's very easily recognizable, but what most people don't realize is how difficult it is. We could spend 5 hours on 8 counts, just a shoulder roll or a finger movement, because there's so much story to tell in that 8 counts.
An approach that Valerie says changed the face of musical theater.
He loved dancers, and you could see it in his face. There was a glee in his eye when he had that cigarette hanging out of the corner of his mouth and the squint because of the smoke. And he would see you do his choreography the way he envisioned it, and he would get this smile. It would blow you away.
That magic is what these pros are working so hard to keep alive.
Students are just, oh my God, I didn't even know I could do that kind of thing. And I do remember having those very feelings.
To be able to pass on those lessons I learned from Bob is everything to me. Job done. I'm good.
It's our job as artists to live it and then help pass it along. And I hope that one day that will be many of you.
Amy Cohen, Fox 5 News.